Welcome back to our special preview bunch of mini episodes for Dads Meet World. I am one of your two dads. Yes, one of your two dads. Yes, we're your dads now, apparently. I am Brett. I am a dad, and I am a big fan of Boy Meets World, that 90s sitcom that just won't let us go. And to my right, your left, is my co-host.
Your other dad, Tyler. I'm also a big fan of Boy Meets World.
Did you ever watch the show My Two Dads?
I don't think so. I heard about it. So yeah, we're just two dads, just love Boy Meets World, and we're showing it to our kids and learning more and more how much we love this show.
That's right. Always ripe for exploration. My kids love it. Yep. And if they didn't, I'd make them watch it anyway.
Well,
anyway, I think I cut you off there.
That's all right. I was just going to say we got some questions here in our new bucket. And
all right. Let's get some questions then.
Go with this guy. Yeah, right. Ooh, this is a great question. This is a new one. You didn't know this one was coming.
Oh.
Bigger Feeney success. Eric, Corey, or Sean?
That is a toughie.
Uh-huh.
Now, Corey followed in his footsteps. Eric ultimately went into politics for state senator and learned to live through whatever severe head trauma damaged his brain after high school.
Uh-huh.
And Sean really learned to embrace his creative side and not allow his background and his upbringing to bring him down. So I'm gonna have to go with Sean, because even though it might not have been the most it might not have been the most externally obvious one at the time, all the time, Sean really may have gotten the most out of his time with Feeney.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, and that's the problem with this question, I guess, is just in Boy Meets World, not taking into account anything with Girl Meets World, it felt like Feeney had to push Sean to care and to try. Like, it almost felt like Sean would have been just fine walking away from school without thinking about it. And it kind of came down as like a favor to Corey and to Feeney that he actually graduates. Like Eric, his senior year, he finally decided to try and put effort in,
Mm-hmm.
And you could argue that Feeney's best work with Eric really came after the fact, when he was in the real world, and, him teaching him real life lessons and not just schoolwork.
Yeah. Yeah, or really when he moved into the more mentor role than just
Mm-hmm.
teacher.
Yeah. Well, and it's like when he was in Boston, when he was there not as his teacher, but as his friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he needed Feeney life guidance, not education guidance. And this is why, sir, I would argue that Corey is his best success.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we meet young Corey Matthews, he doesn't want to learn. He doesn't have an interest in education whatsoever. The first lesson is all about Romeo and Juliet and why should he care about this? I only say that because I watched the episode twice today. But you know, Corey is this, I think because he's such a slower burn to him taking his academics serious, you know, of having a whole high school career where he gets good grades and does well, which is why at a certain point he gets, you know, to do interviews with Stanford, you know, and if he probably attempted with Topanga, you could argue he may be able to get into Yale as well. I just think they lean on him being a goofball too much to take him serious as an academic. But, you know, one could argue that he could have gone that direction. And with him being, I guess, taking into Girl Meets World, you know, he does eventually become a teacher. So he would have had to get a master's degree. And, you know, based on that, how much harder is it to get a doctorate? I know it's difficult. I'm not saying it's not, you know.
That's right. All of you doctors out there who hold doctorates, it's not that hard. We don't think so.
How hard is it to get a PhD, really? It's not what I'm saying. But one could
Don't hear what we're not saying.
Right. But Corey has the aptitude that if that's what he put his mind towards, he could do that, is all I'm getting at. And it starts with a foundation younger, and that's, I think, why he could be considered more of a success. I think all three of them are really a success. Just, yes. You know, you could argue that they all graduated from college and, you know, took their academics serious. So either way, I think it's a stellar question, because at the end of the day, all three of them are amazing characters, and you love to see everything they do, whether they're goofball or they do something serious. Okay, let's get to the next question, shall we? Yeah, this is the one I wanted. Favorite parents. Favorite Topanga parents.
Favorite Topanga parents. Ooh.
Now they have the same name.
Yeah, they don't even have the same names. I'm gonna go with our first Topanga father. Was he still Jedediah then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was still Jedediah. And you know, I'm gonna go with our second Topanga mother. I think that was after Rhiannon.
So I think there's only two actual on-screen moms.
Yeah, there were two on-screen moms. There was because Michael McKean and real life husband and wife, Michael McKean and oh man, I am blanking. And yeah, anyway, Annette O'Toole. Michael McKean and Annette O'Toole were her pair, the first actual couple we saw. But yeah, I think I really preferred her first father and her second mother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the heartbreaking part about Topanga, is that, you know, it's almost like we had this thing in our mind the whole time, and that's what she had in her mind of who her parents were. And so there is something about, I think, that the original pairing that you meet in season 6, where they're not a happy couple, and in fact, it looks like they fight every day, or they don't talk to each other. So I think by default, I may just go with them, only because I think they're the ones that truly make the impact as the actors, you know. I still definitely enjoy the second Topanga mom, because I think she's really there to help her through all that, and I think the actress does a really good job at it. And the father, the third go around, unfortunately, he's just there and doesn't do
Yeah,
a
he
whole.
doesn't really leave a whole lot of mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact, Topanga's first mom was Martha Kent for Smallville
Mhm.
and Lana Lang in Superman 3.
Mhm.
And her father was Perry White in 2 episodes of Smallville.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that last part.
Got to bring out the useless trivia.
Yes. Well, we have to connect these people. If we don't, who will?
The internet.
Hey, we're a part of the internet now.
That's right.
All
Can't
right.
get us off of here.
So this will be a good conversation piece. And again, I'm going to throw a caveat into this. The question is, favorite episode? And again, I will say, besides the finale.
Starry Night.
Yep.
For a few reasons. One, Starry Night is probably my favorite painting.
Mhm.
I have had a poster of it since I was in college. It still hangs in my basement, which is not just basement. I mean, it's my theater. So it's a central point. We get to see Corey's interpretation. We get to see Topanga's interpretation. And we get to see this as a central point where Topanga's exploring where it is to be in the shoes of Corey, leading into this one last gasp for Corey, one last shot, and just his explanation of what Van Gogh painted of Starry Night being an attack is just such an out there interpretation. The first time I heard it, it just was completely out of the blue, out of left field. It's like, an attack, okay. But the way the writers
Just I wanted to make sure you didn't go through the whole answer.
we were interrupted, we were cut off. Okay, so technology is not our friend tonight.
Would you like
we were cut off. I was cut off mid thought, and it has screwed me up twice now. But I was explaining my thought process on Corey's explanation of his interpretation and how it came out of the blue, and it gave me an opportunity to go ahead and look up the actual quote. And Corey tells Topanga, when he looks at this painting, I see an attack from another world. And then Topanga asks him, what about the relationship between God and man? And Corey says, okay, I was about to get there. See, God unhappy with how some particular humans treat other particular humans who love them. Gee, I wonder what that means. Has decided it's the end of the world. And I think he's right. And Topanga, meanwhile, sees God is protecting the people in this little town. They live their lives, they come out of their houses, and they see the sky, and they know God's protection and love, and everything will be all right. And Corey asks, how do you expect me to see good in anything when I feel so bad in here? And just there's just so much in this episode. I mean, it's the episode where they finally get back together. You know, Topanga goes out on that date with the soap opera hunk that she meets in the gallery, and she realizes how Corey could do what he did and how he could potentially have feelings for another girl, but still it not mean enough to do anything about. And there's just it's the culmination of really the entire through line to their story for the season, and it just feels like a very earned episode. And it's there's just so much of it that I can go back to over and over again, and it all revolves around my favorite painting.
Mhm. Well, and I think there's something to be said about how we interpret art based on where we are mentally and emotionally. If we're not in a good uh, headspace, as Corey is in that moment, it's not that hard to see that he would not be okay and would see things as everything is bad and God hates us. Where Topanga thinks she's in a right headspace and knows like what the artist was originally doing, so she can always see that regardless. But Corey, either he knows it or doesn't. Regardless, all he can see is the attack. So I do find that very fascinating. Oh, due to all of our technical difficulties and animals being difficult, I almost forgot which one I was going to go with. So I think my favorite episode is a cheat a little bit, but it's a two-parter, and it's the war in season 7. I think just as far as anytime the show does like 2-part episodes, like I always think they handle them well. I think they do a good job of telling one singular story and a secondary story that are happening right on top of each other. One affects the other. And I think what I like about the war is it truly exposes in their friendship group things that they're not willing to say out loud. So a lot of their insecurities start to come out. And as a kid, I think I appreciated seeing that older people can have insecurities and can be in friendship groups and still feel like you're an outsider, you're not accepted. I think as a kid, I didn't understand why Rachel could be a part of their wedding, but not feel welcomed at points or not feel like she's a part of the group. And then as they start to say things, and also some of the meanest things they do are directed always towards Rachel. And then, the creators continue that in the Girl Meets World, not even mentioning her. But I digress. I always liked Rachel growing up. So I think, the war will always be one of my favorites because we also get introduced to one of the best characters ever.
Plays with squirrels.
Yes, plays with squirrels.
It's in me manifesto. I married a moose.
But also, in that too, I like how we see who Corey could be without the influence of Sean. And that is Corey, well, probably even with Eric as well, of Corey kind of becomes the most boring version of himself. He goes in a direction where all he cares about is making money, and he's awkward. He fits with accountants, but, is he really meant to be there? It's like Ben Wyatt, should Ben Wyatt really be an accountant? Probably. Will he rule them as king? Yes, and that's not good. Little Parks and Rec coming in. Yes. Also knows Griff.
Yeah. But Griff would never come up with codes of Dunshire.
It's about the codes. But yeah, I love the war. The war is such an incredible 2-part episode. I mean, specifically, I think if I had to pick one of the 2 episodes, the first part is the one I like the most because that's where a lot of the insecurities really start coming out. And then the second one's where all of them clearly get resolved and everything. But, you also have fun pranks, especially the cars. And I always like how they tried to get Afeni to be this, be the authority here. And he's just like, why? Why do I have to do this?
Yes.
But it also leads into Feeny can't solve all their problems. He's not a part of their friendship group.
And Eric forever wanting to be the double agent.
I'm a spy. All right. Well, we hit 3 questions. Do we want to have one more or just leave it with 3?
Let's leave it at 3. We've done 3 for all the other ones.
All right. That sounds good. Do you have it?
And I do have a dad joke for you.
Hit me with it.
So, all right. So the other day I accidentally drank some holy water with my laxative. So now I'm about to start a religious movement.
Nice. Okay. Need to remember.
And on that bright and genius note, oh yes, thank you everyone for watching, listening, and hopefully that didn't scare you away, because we do get deeper than that. That was just fun. I couldn't resist.
Yes.
I'm a dad. It's a poop joke.
Exactly.
They come. So we'll see you next time, and yeah, soon coming your way, full-blown episodes.
Yes. Once we get better equipped.
Yes. So see you. Good looking.
Have a good day. Good looking.